In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. Hi, I'm Chris Trammell. I'm the CEO and Chief Strategist of Seeds from Sunday. We're an organization of consultants committed to sharing the light of Christ and making the biggest difference that we can with our partners to grow their membership and revenue and the difference that they make in their communities, in their regions, and globally. We go live every 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time on our Facebook group on Mondays, Seeds from Sunday. Find us on Facebook. Or you can go to our website, www.seedsfromsunday.com, or you may email me at chris@seedsfromsunday.com. I want to specifically thank Christina Simmons right now for inviting us to share a little bit about our strategies and what we do, and be part of this conversation in the Say Yes to Holiness Transformation Online Summit. The opportunity for us to look at what is it to be our best selves as we move forward out of this period of the coronavirus pandemic really does invite us to be our best. One of the things that we do is we believe 100% in modeling that which we're going to ask our clients to do. So I'm coming to you essentially live, the way we do our live videos on Monday, 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And I'm coming to you from one of our favorite places because I live in Long Beach. There's the Queen Mary right there. You might see the dome where the Spruce Goose used to be. And right over here, the Long Beach Lighthouse. Yeah, it's great. So why do we get to share it this way? Well, let's reframe where we started. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. It is one of the most powerful lines that we have in Scripture. It gives us the opportunity to explore what I am going to invite you in this short video to do. And that is to recognize that we live in a word-to-world relationship. What we say shapes our world. What we say moves us forward in the experience of our world. Now, many of you have been pastors. You've spoken from sermons. You've spoken from the pulpit. That's not new to you. But however, as we emerge from the coronavirus pandemic, we've allowed for the news and the media to be the word that we live into. Most of us feel like, how do we do this again, right? We've forgotten that in Scripture it gives us the rule for creating world, to partner with the divine, if you will, to put our word, our faith into God and say, this is the world that I'm creating for my congregation. This is the word to the world that I want my community to know about. When you take the time, when you sit, when you articulate and make that word, that vision clear, and then you begin to share it with your leaders and part of your ministry teams, your elders, whatever group you're going to share it with, your co-coaches. All of a sudden, you've now created a world that they get to live into as well. It makes an extraordinary difference when we become deeply grounded and rooted in that spiritual law of a word creates our world relationship. And that's the most important thing that I really want you to get. If you stop the video right now, I don't want you to, but you would be able to ground yourself in what is the word that I'm going to give back to my membership? What is the word that I'm promising that I'm going to give back to my organization? And what do I have to do to fulfill on that word? Now that's why I brought us here down to the Queen Mary and the Lighthouse, right? Because we know, for many of us who have taken a cruise, that we're enlivened by the idea. We're going to take a cruise and it's going to take us all over these beautiful tropical places. Have we actually arrived at those places yet? No. But in getting on the cruise, we began to live into a future that was created by our own word. Oh, I'm going to do this, I'm going to lay out, I'm going to read a book. None of that has happened in the moment that we're saying it. That's the future that we get to create and live into. So you, as captain of your ship, create that word. Create that world that you're going to want your members and your participants and your guests and your congregation to live into. Now, there's some things you can't predict in your journey along your destination, the choppy seas, the high waves, wherever you're going to have to arrive to. Well, and that's the lighthouse, right? The light of Christ, the guiding light, the light at the end of the tunnel, and really, that's our role. We're going to be that lighthouse for you. We're going to make sure that you do not have the solutions to make sure that you arrive at the destination that you said you wanted to arrive at. That is one of the most fundamentally important parts of this creation journey. Create the journey. Create in word the world that you want to have your participants live into. And then, what is it going to take? What's that guidance that you're going to need to make sure that you arrive there safely? It's simple, but it is one of the most powerful scriptural laws and tools that we're given. Seeds from Sunday is committed to giving you the tools that are going to make a difference, to coach you on how to use those tools best, right? You can walk into Home Depot and find many tools and have an idea of how to use them, but really it takes a craftsman to show you how to use those tools best. And even some people who said, oh, I didn't know I could use that tool that way. Well, that's what we do. Not only do we help you create this word-to-world relationship, but then we also help you how to share those tools. So as we emerge forward from the pandemic, really begin to look at what are the words that I'm speaking? Am I still talking about the tragedy? When we lose 80,000 brothers and sisters in the United States, that's tragic. Empathy matters. We have to allow people to share that dialogue, but don't let them stay there. Create the world that comes after for them. What contribution can they still be? How can we re-engage them? How can we become the center points of conversation in our communities? How can you start to have interfaith dialogue with others? Right? There's so many here that are from different faiths. The wind's picking up a little bit. Authenticity says, if this starts to blow, you're going to see me grab it and set it right back down. So that is one of the things that I want to talk to you about. Last things are, what do we coach on and why does it matter? First thing that we bring forward in our Seeds from Sunday coaching methodology is leadership. Whoever's going to be at the front of that helm has to be developing themselves, has to know all the workings, all the systems, and everybody on that ship has to align with the single most message that the captain says, this is what we're committed to, this is where we're going, this is what we're doing. So first and foremost, leadership. We want to make sure you are clear, you have given your word to the word that created your world so that you can fulfill on it. That's number one. Number two, authenticity. We go live often. In this pandemic, boy, how many people scrambled to go live, right? Like all of a sudden churches were going live, microphones were selling out, tripods were selling out. All of a sudden, I got to go live. Well, we recognize that authenticity matters. Human beings are extraordinary when we're given the opportunity to create. And if you watch different channels or different shows, one of our favorites, John Krasinski's Some Good News, extraordinary what human beings have done, right? Authenticity matters. So why do I say that? I'm not going to curate, I'm not going to edit this video. I know my lighting isn't the best, but hopefully you've gotten past that by now. Hopefully if I back up into the light, it changes that. But really what you want to know is, what's in your heart? Can I find myself in you? And if I could find myself in you, then I could trust you. And if I could trust you, we might just do business together. Or I might just bring my family to you to help us ground ourselves in the light of Christ, to help us ground ourselves in a faith again. Authenticity matters, okay? If you curate a little bit, that's fine. We'll talk about the strategies of when and where to curate your content. But as much as possible, let people find themselves in you. Third thing, outreach and marketing, aka evangelism, right? Be great at your outreach and marketing. I was outreach and marketing and sales for Nike and Under Armour. Thus, I don't wear it for any particular reason. Sorry for drawing attention to it. But I was outreach, marketing, sales for Nike and Under Armour for 5.5 years. I was the curriculum and science writer and growth development for the Los Angeles Zoo High School. That was my job, was to write curriculums that was going to make a difference for incoming students to be able to fulfill on their goals of going out into the world and be students of science, being students of biology, taking care of animals and conservation. And then I was a track and field coach for 20 years. That really was the space of how to market, because I needed all the athletes I could. And there was no way I could ever be with any one particular athlete. I had at least 18 events going on around me at any one time. Organizational behavior, being able to share my message so that everybody on my team was aligned for the win, for the one singular purpose of having everybody be fulfilled by the end of the meet. Outreach and marketing, and we could talk about the strategies more. And the last thing is for strategy. Everything is built upon strategy. In business, you'll hear it's called a go-to-market strategy. I like to say for our sacred space communities, it is a return to community strategy. What is your return to community strategy? You've been able to hang with some of them to keep them engaged here online, but what are you going to do now to bring them back? And how are you going to do it? How are you going to ensure their safety? So you also have to look at strategy, and the strategy to help you to also start to maybe fill in the loss of revenue that you experienced in these past 2 months so that you can safely make it to December. We know a number of churches are going to close this year, and you're probably already hearing about pastors who need to reframe and rethink about what they're going to have to do. And we have a program that we've developed for that as well, a Pastor 2.0, if you will, a pastor reboot. And there's a strategy for their success as well. It doesn't mean that it's over. When you live in a word-to-world relationship, you get to say what's so, and then you get to say what you're going to live into. And that's what we're here. We want you to understand that you could say what is so. We are coming out of a pandemic that we've never seen in our lifetimes. That's what's so. But what is the future that you're going to live into? What is the word that you're going to give to create a world for those around you to be a part of and to want to live into with you? That's what we got, and that's what we do, and we do it very well. My name's Chris Trammell. I am the CEO and Chief Strategist of Seeds from Sunday. We're an organization committed to sharing the light of Christ throughout the world and making the biggest difference that we can with partners just like yourself to help you grow in both membership and revenue, give you tips, strategies, resources, coaching, tools, whatever it takes to help you grow forward. And one last thing, because if you're here and you're supporting this online summit, I got something for you. Uh-oh. This nightlight right here. If you could see it, it says, I am the truth, the light, and the way. If you follow up, send me an email. I'll send this to you complimentary. I've been a hospice volunteer for 10 years. And one of the things that I learned was I always wanted to leave behind a light of hope, a light of compassion, a light of goodness, just to let people know that there was someone championing the light for them. And this is part of how we share the light of Christ, as we create night lights that symbolically engage others to know that somebody is holding the light for them. If you email me, chris@seedsfromsunday.com, make sure I have your address. I will go ahead and send you one of these lights. I thank you so much for your time. I thank you for participating with Christina's Summit and the Say Yes to Holiness Transformation Online Summit. And if you need anything at all, anything that we could help you do to share the light of Christ, just let us know. Be well, be blessed, take care of yourselves, and continue to make that difference out in the world. It needs you. Thanks for now.